Today in Capechi's Corner, we're going to simplify radicals, and this is day 3. In today's lesson, we're going to be building on what we've done in previous lessons. So it says solve for x. So I have 2 root 3 is equal to the square root of 6x. So where do I start? I could do two methods. I could do a guess and check, or I can solve it algebraically. So I have 2 root 3. I'm trying to make that value equal to the square root of 6x when I find a value for x. So let's just start with a guess and check. So the first thing I'm going to do is 2 root 3. I'm going to put that into my calculator, and I get about 3.46. That's an estimate. So now I'm going to do is I'm just going to start substituting. Again, it's guess and check. So I'm just going to start with 1. So when I substitute that in, I get 6 times 1, which is the square root of 6. I put the square root of 6 in my calculator, and I get 2.45, and this value is too low. Remember, my goal is I'm trying to get to 3.46. So now I know I need to go a little higher. So I can go right to 2, or I can jump to 3 or 4 and then back the numbers down if I need to. But 2.45 and 3.46, they're pretty close. So I'm going to go to the next number of 2. So I have the square root of 6 times 2, which gives me the square root of 12. I put that in my calculator, and I do get 3.46, which is what I wanted here. So my answer there is x is equal to 2. Now let's look at the algebra method of solving this problem. So again, I have 2 root 3 is equal to the square root of 6x. And I want to solve for x, so I need to get rid of that radical sign. So if I square that, I know my radical sign will go away. So whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other side. So this gives me 2 root 3 times 2 root 3. And that equals, when I square a square root, I get just 6x. So now I need to simplify the left-hand side. 2 times 2 gives me 4, times the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 gives me 3 is equal to 6x. So I have 12 is equal to 6x, divide both sides by 6, and x is equal to 2. So as you can see, it doesn't matter which method I use, my final answer is going to be x is equal to 2. Now the great thing about these problems is I can check it. So I'm going to go back into my original problem where I have 2 root 3 is equal to the square root, and it was 6x. So now that I know x is 2, I'm going to multiply that. So 2 root 3 on the left-hand side, that is in simplest radical form. So on the right-hand side, I have the square root of 12. Perfect square that goes into 12 is 4, so I have 4 root 3. So I get 2 root 3, which again matches what I have in the left-hand side. So I know that I'm correct in my answer of x is equal to 2. Let's try another one. So in number 2, it says 4 root 6 is equal to the square root of 24x. So we want to find the value of x. So again, let's do a guess and check. So I'm going to use my calculator first to see what my goal is. When I put in my calculator 4 root 6, that is equal about 9.80. So that's my goal. So let's just pick a number. I'm going to start with 5 this time. Let's go with something a little higher. So x is equal to 5. So I have the square root of 24 times 5. 24 times 5 gives me 120. When I put that in my calculator, that is about 10.9. So in this case, I can see I went a little bit too high. So now let's go lower. So I'll do x is equal to 4. Substitute that in. So I have the square root of 24 times 4 gives me the square root of 96. And then when I put that in my calculator, I do get 9.80. So I'm all set. So my final answer there is x is equal to 4. Let's try now using our algebra method. So again, I have 4 root 6 is equal to the square root of 24x. I'm going to square both sides so I can get rid of my radical signs. So I have 4 root 6 times 4 root 6 is equal to 24x. So 4 times 4 gives me 16. Root 6 times root 6 gives me 6 is equal to 24x. 16 times 6 gives me 96. 96 is equal to 24x. And when I divide both sides by 24, I have x is equal to 4. So I have x is equal to 4 regardless of the method I use. So let's check it. So here's my check step. So I have 4 root 6 is equal to the square root of 24 times 4. 4 root 6 is equal to 24 times 4 is the square root of 96. So the square root of 96 breaks down perfect square is 16, so I have 16 and 6. So my final answer there is 4 root 6. So I know that the answer is x is equal to 4 since my values match. In our final problem for today, we're going to do something different with the square roots. So I have find the area, and we're going to simplify my answer. Now remember that area is equal to length times width. So that's what I'm going to need to do. So area is equal to my length is the square root of 18, and my width is the square root of 5. So I'm going to multiply those together. 18 times 5 gives me 90. I need to look for the highest perfect square that goes into 90, which is 9. So that breaks down to the square root of 9 times the square root of 10. The square root of 9 is 3. So I have 3 root 10, and again it's area, so it's going to be units squared, which is my final answer.